Okay, we are live, guys. Hey, Eurox here. So, it's me, Dominic, and I'm joined by Harry and Jess from the United Kingdom. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, and Norway has found their representative. It's Subwoolfers with the song Give That Wolf a Banana. And I see a very happy person here. Jess, how do you feel?
Well, going into the final, Subwoolfer were my favourites, so I'm very happy that they won. But watching the final, it just reminded me actually how strong it actually is. Because previously I was thinking this year's edition of MGP was maybe weaker than other years, but actually I'm disagreeing with myself now and realising that it was a very tough final.
Yeah, very good point. So I totally agree. There were so many performances which elevated themselves, but we will talk about it later. So Harry, what is your first thought about the winner?
To be honest, my first thought was for a country as known for its beauty and music as Italy, I do find it ironic that one of the acts is two wolves. But I would say that it was definitely an expected winner. Especially when it got to the gold jewel, I did assume that Subwoolfer definitely had it, and especially considering the hearts in the bottom right that you see, like their heart filled up at least twice in that gold jewel. So it was an expected winner, and I agree with Jess. It was very strong MGP.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you already know my opinion about the act. So I like the overall package. They changed quite a bit, even though I thought the performance in the heat was already quite established and quite good. But it was an expected win. I must say it wasn't as obvious in the end as I thought it would be, because I wrote down the numbers. So Subwoolfers in the end had 368,000 roughly votes, and NorthKid, who came second, 312,000. So the difference is only 50,000. I was expecting a bigger victory, to be honest. But anyways, let's go to the comments. So we have people who really into the winner. We also have some who is not into the winner. For example, hi Mark, Subwoolfer is the winner indeed, but you don't understand that well.
I think a lot of people are not going to understand.
Yeah, it's polarizing, but I think you want to be polarizing, don't you? So we have the total opposite here. We have Highway Bailey. Good to see you. So happy Subwoolfer won. Good for you. And yeah, I think that's about it. So we also have a comment from Corinna O. She says her favorite one, and congrats from the UK. Okay. Oh, and we have a negative comment here. I think we need more last place spots in the top because this season's just a huge mess. Wow. Okay. That's a different story here, I think. So anyway, so I think you have already seen the differences from the performance, especially just because I remember we did the video for that heat as well. Which performance did you prefer? The one from the heat or the one from this year, from this final?
I think definitely from the final. I mostly just because of the change in outfits that fitted the song and the style better, and it kept in with this kind of black and yellow theme going on, which I just seem to love now. But overall, it did seem stronger than what it was in the semi-final, the heat, whatever you want to call it. So it's no surprise that it won.
Fair. Harry, what do you think?
I would definitely say the final performance, similar to what Jess said. I remember I watched the performance in the heat, and while I sort of got the alienish theme with the outfits from the backing dancers, they didn't really seem to fit the overall performance that much. So it's a lot of yellow, I have to say, but definitely the outfits did suit the performance more. And I'm not going to lie, within the first 5 seconds, I did think they do look a little bit like Minions, don't they? The backing dancers.
Yeah, they're definitely going for the Minion votes. So let's go to the comments again. James says that he's not quite sold on the Subwoolfer's package yet, but there's still time for them to win me over. That's true indeed. And hey, Sarah O'Halloran, she says that she loves bananas because they're healthy, and you're absolutely right with this comment.
I love bananas too.
Yellow is the color, and I agree. As you can see, I have yellow as well, and a yellow watch because yellow is my favorite. To be fully fair, Subwoolfers were my favorite, but I can see the appeal to the whole performance, so I fully understand why they won. Yeah. Vincent also says that he loves the song from the very first time, and I think that's very important because remember, it's Eurovision time now, and usual audience will only listen to it once or maybe like twice from semi-final and final, maybe. And George says that he's not a fan of the winner, but he still respects the song for what it is, and he would be shocked if it does okay at Eurovision. Okay. Yes. So how about we going to do a little prediction about the potential for Eurovision, because now we're going to the next level here. So what is your prediction? Do you think Subwoolfers will qualify to the final? And if so, what place region do you expect it to be? Harry, go ahead.
I definitely say I think at the moment with the quality they would qualify for the final. I think their placement will be very interesting. In my head, I can see them doing very well with the televote, definitely. Juries, I'm not as convinced, and I think that sort of divide might influence even future MGPs, because if you look at Tix last year, he did fairly poorly with the jury, very well with the televote, and even Kaino in 2019. So Norway's system of having okay, that's a different.
Don't get me started about that.
But I think if Norway have a similar result in this year with flopping with the jury and then a good result with the televote, I think there might be a situation where they could reevaluate MGP a little bit, just to even add a few juries at some stage in the contest, because 100% televote might not be allowing Norway to reach their full potential. But I'd say overall 15th to 20th maybe is my prediction.
Basically like last year, because like Tix finished 18th in the final.
Yeah.
Okay. Jess, what do you think?
Well, I'm the complete opposite, actually. I do agree with Harry that this is definitely more of a televote song and performance than a jury song. But I think that they're definitely going to qualify to the final. I think there's no doubt about that. And I think in the final, if they get a high enough televote score, we could see them in the top 10. That's my prediction.
Okay, and you're on the same page as this user, because you also expect Norway to be back in the top 10, and Neil is expecting a top 5 finish, at least in the televote. We will see about that. I fully agree with both of you, so I think the televote will be definitely higher than the jury. But don't forget, jury is not always like perfectly sung ballad. There are also a lot of jury members who are like, oh, this song is catchy and I like the overall performance, so I'm going to vote for it. So you really can't tell. I think jury is very hard to predict in general. Also, we have a comment that Royal Baby is ready for Subwoolfer win, lol. We will see about that.
Well, I would love to go back to Norway, so why not?
Norway is a beautiful place. I've been there once and I loved it. Yeah, and Giva David is happy for them as well. That's awesome. So we also have a comment from here. Top 10 in the final for sure. The song has rhythm, it's catchy, radio friendly, and it appeals to a lot of youth voters. Yeah, I think the target group is probably not like 80 plus. And yeah, usually younger voters are like voting more frequently than older, I can imagine. But that's just a theory, So I think we should also talk about the others, because as we have already said, MGP had so many great songs in the end. Because in the beginning we were a bit skeptical, but the elevation was pretty obvious. So the runner-up was NorthKid with the song Someone. First, did you expect that to happen? And second, were you a fan of the overall performance? Jess, go ahead.
Well, actually, kicking my head was to your first question. On the one hand, I was a little bit surprised to see them make the final 2, because I thought that there were kind of stronger songs in the final. But then, given how popular NorthKid are in Norway, it kind of makes sense, similar to what we saw with Tix last year. he's hugely popular. So, of course, you know, he does very well. But as for their performance, I did notice an improvement compared to their performance in the heat. And it seemed like they were more of a band on stage this time. They were moving around more, using the stage a lot better and interacting with one another a lot more, which I did appreciate. The song is not to my liking, but I did appreciate their improved performance.
Yeah, I see. Harry, what do you think?
Well, I will say, I think NorthKid just improved their performance by not having the curtain botch fall happen this time.
They had plenty of time to work on that. So, hey, they did a great job on that.
Bravo. I would say, when I was watching NorthKid 1, I did think, yeah, there was an improvement. There was definitely a lot more cohesion, harmony in the performance. But yeah, I would say I could definitely have seen them coming in the top 4. But I was... I mean, you should have seen a reaction to when I saw NorthKid had got into the gold jewel. My mouth was like wide open. I was shocked they got in there. I really like the song, actually. I really enjoy Someone, but it never appeared to me to be like second in the whole contest. It never was that good, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I was surprised. I was kind of expecting a top 4 finish, especially because of the elevation, which I fully agree. And it's like they have listened to us in the video, because we were like, well, the song is good, but it was like there are 2 separate groups, and now they were interacting the whole time, and I really like that. I'm not sure if that Polar Lightning or Northern Lightning was on the curtain in the heat performance. I'm not sure about that, but you know what I mean? In the beginning, they were showing these lights. That was a nice addition to that as well. And I think also vocally he improved, and his heat performance was good already. So I think good job to them. And one thing I must say, it really made a difference that this final had audience, because remember the heats, no audience at all, and now you have realized, oh wait, NorthKid has a fan base, like a big one in Norway. So I fully understand why they got this top 2 finish. Yeah, good for them, even though they were my favorites as well. But we will come to that as well. So we had some comments about that. Vincent says he wasn't surprised NorthKid was the runner-up. It's a nice song, and yeah, we agree on that. And about the voting pattern, north of Norway was definitely behind NorthKid. Pun intended. Sarah O'Halloran still thinks that it's a mixture between One Direction and Coldplay, and I kind of agree with her. And yeah, in general, we had some disappointment, because a lot of people thought Elsie Bay is going to be the second place. And I would say, let's talk about her, because she was in the top 4, and she was the second biggest favorite to win MGP, but in the end she didn't. So, Harry, what do you think about Elsie Bay? Did you like her?
I love that performance. I thought, because there was even, like, people were maybe a little bit, they were quite critical of the heat performance. They thought it wasn't as good as they thought it could be. I thought there were elements I liked of it. But there was, I remember the instruments in the back were a bit confusing. But honestly, I think her live performance today was maybe the best I've seen from any national final this season. I thought it was incredible. So the fact that it didn't even make the gold jewel to, let's be honest, it would have faced Subwoolfer, would have been the predicted top 2. To not even get to that stage, I was shocked. I thought it was a certain to at least get to there.
Yeah, Jess.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed with her final performance, actually, more so than in her heat performance, semi-final performance. I don't know what it was, but I think in this one we had backing instrumentalists that I don't remember seeing before. And then, you know, all of these laser lights coming down, it just seemed more elevated and just seemed like there was something more happening. And not to mention her vocals were incredible. And I genuinely did think at one point she could win. And I was convinced it was going to be between her and Subwoolfer. But I mean, well deserved, you know, top 4. It would be nice to see her come back, because I do think she has what it takes to win. But yeah, I was very impressed actually by her performance tonight. It was just stunning.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think it was the biggest elevation of it all. Like the good things were still there from the Heat performance, but she elevated all the rest, which didn't work in the beginning. So the concept was still the same with the chairs or the instruments without any players, but it was just the violins, which makes sense because I think the violins were the dominant part of the whole song. But then in the end, there was the twist with the real ones, and that was a wow moment for me. I really liked that. And also vocally, she was better. She felt more comfortable on stage. Her dress was more spectacular. I don't know. I really liked that. And yeah, also the camera cuts were tighter. And I think overall it was very, very nice. And this user thinks that we will definitely see her at the dance contest. So yeah, that will be a given.
Yeah.
And I love this comment. There's no coming back from the death of this Eurovision season. So right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. But we also have some negative comments because people think Elsie was overrated and the staging did not help her. Well, at least she came into the top 4, so she didn't flop, I think. And people say, well, we may have lost a possible winner for Eurovision. We will never know.
Anything's possible.
Never know.
Yeah.
Okay, but we also had another one in the top 4, and I'm very happy about that because she was one of my favorites. It was Sofie with the song Made of Glass. So let me start. Damn, she was so good. Loved it. I think it was even better than the Heat performance, and that was already stunning. So I think she did a very good job. She was the only not automatic qualifier that advanced to the top 4. So props to her. She's the winner of the Heat, as you can tell. And yeah, I think she should come back and try it again. And I hope she will represent Norway at some point. So what do you think, Harry? Did you enjoy her performance?
Yeah, I really enjoyed her performance, actually. One thing I will say MGP probably does better than any other national final is lighting effects. There was a lot of really good lighting effects this today, and Sofie was probably on top of that. I really like the staging, how simplistic it is. I've always liked the song. I've got a golden rule, to be fair, in Eurovision. Anything Moorland touches turns to gold, which I think is a fair... I mean, she was in the gold section. I don't know what the top 4 is called. But yeah, it was definitely one of my favorites as well. I never really expected her to get to the gold jewel. But even in my head, when Maria Mohn won the wildcard spot for the final, I thought to myself, I thought to myself, well, if she's getting the wildcards, the winner of that heat must have been quite good. Yes. So I always thought Sofie had a good chance of getting top 4. And yeah, she well deserved her spot in there.
Yeah, Jess, I remember that you weren't the biggest fan. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the song, I'll be honest, but I do love her staging and I loved her performance in the final. And like Harry said, it was very simple and stripped back, and it was essentially kind of just focusing on her and her amazing voice, which would just suited the song perfectly, in my opinion. And having all of these kind of, like shards of glass on the stage kind of reminded me a bit of Israel in Eurovision 2019 with these big glass mirror things on the stage in similar shapes. I don't know. Anyway, I loved the overall performance and the staging, loved her voice, loved what she was wearing. I think top 4 was very well deserved for her. I was a little bit surprised because I wasn't sure whether she would make it or not, but I'm happy for her. And again, I would like to see her come back.
Yeah, and we have some praise for her as well. Vincent says, Made of Glass was beautiful, and I think beautiful is the best way to describe the whole performance and the song. So good job. So O'Halloran wants her to reach high notes and break glass. Why not?
That could have made an awesome, part of the staging if they just manually broke the glass at the high note.
Slightly hazardous, I would argue.
Yeah, so we have another comment saying that it was a little gloomy in the Heat performance, but they improved the light effect a lot, so I'm glad she made it to the top 4. Although my heart cries for Maria Mohn and Oda. Yeah, I was sad about Oda especially because I loved her performance and she was so good. And yeah, did you enjoy Oda?
I did, actually. It was very epic. Her vocals seemed a lot stronger than what they were in the Heat. She was hitting the notes a lot more confidently. And yeah.
Don't get me wrong, she was hitting the notes already in the heat, but it was almost like, okay, I really have to force it, and now it was like, yeah, I got it. You know, that was the difference. And also, like, again, the audience made a difference because she was really like interacting with them a bit, and I really liked that as well. Harry, were you a fan of the Hammer of Thor?
Actually, no. Sorry. I mean, I enjoy the effects. I enjoy the effects of the song. The actual song itself, I think I was always put off by the title Hammer of Thor. It seemed a bit too on the nose. And what I find ironic is because this is a song written by Elsie Bay, who in Death of Us, I would argue, is one of the most smooth, like, progressive songs in terms of melody and structure. I would argue Hammer of Thor sort of the opposite. It feels very messy, with the constants, like, bellows of vocals, which are very impressive, of course. But I was never really a fan of it. I was a little bit surprised it didn't get into top 4, but then again, there's probably about 6 or 7 songs I thought could have got top 4. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see where you're coming from. Maybe the running order wasn't giving her any favors, but remember NorthKid was second in the running order.
Yeah.
And they came into the top 2, so yeah.
Popularity wins.
Yeah, true, definitely. So, I don't want to talk about every song because we already did that, but was there any honorable mention or maybe a performance which was maybe disappointing? I don't know. Anything you want to mention?
I mean, I don't think there was any kind of disappointment or in this final. I think every act performed the best that they could and put on a really good show, in my opinion. Great vocals from everyone tonight, in my opinion. Great stagings, even if I didn't like all of them or didn't appeal to me, they were still good nonetheless. Maria Moon was brilliant, I thought, and Oda as well, and Subwoolfer.
Harry?
Yeah, I would say one thing Norway had going for it in the final was a lot of the stagings looked and felt very different. I mean, what I find ironic is we had a flaming piano halfway through the show, and that's nowhere near the biggest talking point. But yeah, I would say similar to Jess. I would definitely say Maria Mohn was one of my favorites that didn't quite make the top 4. I was very happy when that got to the final. I think as much as, Hammer of Thor obviously has a bit of this flavor as well. Maria Moon for me is the sort of typical Norwegian staging entry that I think every Norway national final should have. But yeah, I would definitely say from the heats to the final, no one staging got worse. At the very least, all of it improved, and it was a very enjoyable final to watch.
Yeah, I fully agree. So I have to make one honorable mention, and Maya is doing the same. Farida, she was animated, and I agree. She hit the high note. She felt way more comfortable, I think. Loved the stage in general. There weren't any changes, but honestly, that was the best staging. I'm still sticking to that. So good job to her. And yeah, I was kind of hoping for a top 4 finish here, but here we are. ESC Latvia is saying a very interesting thing because the new voting system doesn't do anything for her, because like the songs were canceling each other out a bit, because as we have already mentioned in previous videos, we have so many female ballots here, and they were kind of canceling each other out, and I was actually surprised because it was like the top 4 are here and here the top 2, so there wasn't any chance to vote again, and I think that's why we just had male singers in the top 2, because as you have said, they were canceling each other out, and I was a bit sad because it was already like, oh, I can vote again, lovely, and then it was like announcing the top 2, and I was like, no, because actually I made a mistake because I voted for Oda, for Elsie, and for Sofie, and maybe that's why, because I wasn't putting all the votes on one candidate. Maybe that was my mistake. I'm sorry. But all
of my votes went on one candidate and they won. So maybe there's some truth in it.
thought you would have split it because I remember that you were a fan of Frode as well, like Black Flowers.
I was, but I didn't see enough love for Subwoolfer. So I just thought, I'm going to give them my love.
Okay, I see.
To be fair, all my votes went to one person, but sadly they didn't get past the gold final four, and that was Elsie Bay.
There you go. Okay. So yeah, Vincent is on your side. And yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. Before we leave, I wanted to say one more thing. Is Harry new? Yes, he is. and I hope you are enjoying this video, and it's a pleasure to talk to you as well as to Jess. Yeah, I think that's it. So one last question. In your top 14, we haven't heard like the songs from Slovenia and Croatia and stuff just yet. Where would you place Subwoolfers? Is it in your top 2 or 3, or is it towards your bottom? Jess?
It's my favorite so far.
Surprise. Okay. Hey.
I'll probably say mid-table. I can think of at least 5 songs that I prefer at the moment.
Yeah, same. So I would probably rank it like 6 or 7. I think that's fine. Could have been higher with other songs, but I think it could have been lower with others. So, but we will see. We only got like 14 songs so far, and we still have like two-thirds. Do you say that? Not a native here. 2/3 of the songs.
Yeah, 2/3.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so thank you, Harry. Thank you, Jess. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and yeah, see you again soon, I guess. Bye.
Bye.